This is Life is Strange True Colors. We're here on Xbox Series S taking a look at this narrative-driven adventure that has the entire series released at once and not as standalone episodic releases, so you can enjoy the whole scope of the experience. Well, basically in one go, which is quite nice. So we've jumped into kind of the middle of the game where they do a bit of a zany, silly sort of chapter. That way we don't spoil anything and you get an idea of what this is. So be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So here on the Series S, we kind of don't have any options in comparison to other platforms. So yeah, what are we getting here? Well, we've got 30 FPS no matter what you do, and we have ray tracing, which is ray traced shadows primarily, so basically just ray traced shadows so that you have more perfect shadows within the game. And yes, it is a dialogue heavy experience, and it kind of melds cutscenes with regular gameplay and choices that will directly impact your story and your tale as Alex Chen. So what are we getting here for the resolution? It looks like we're getting 1440p, again 30 FPS is the target here, and there is the option under the video settings in order to have ray tracing on or off. Just leave it on. It's, might as well go with it. There's no benefit to turning it off, really. Ray tracing is a better experience for just the realism of the world, even if it has an artistic style to it. So, art style aside, there are live stream options, so you can mute licensed music. We have music off. The audio, though, of the Life is Strange series is really what makes this franchise so special, like a big part of it. Aside from the art direction, the great characters, and the unique narratives that you go through, I really do believe that the music lends itself nicely to the tone, the feeling, and the style of the game. And again, turning it off because, copyright and whatnot. So, what's really, really cool about this particular title is, like I said, unlike other Life is Strange games, it released all at once. You got to play the entire scope of the story in a single go. Or you can split up, it's kind of chapter set, so you can sort of go, you could switch between the different chapters if you'd like to, and, it's kind of nice. So it'd be like, okay, I want to do this chapter, and, we'll stop at chapter 2 and we'll come back, we'll do it later. That's kind of cool, right? There's replaying chapters to get collectibles, and yes, there are collectibles to find within the world, which is pretty cool. And it centers around this character who has this sort of ability, like all the Life is Strange games, your characters, they have special talents. The first one was about time. This character is about emotions. So it's kind of its own contained thing, but there are some aspects of this one that do tie into the overall universe. We're in this lovely kind of, I guess you would say, mountain-esque town, which is very charming. It is a very, very beautiful location filled with intrigue and discovery, and yeah, it's quite cool just what you're doing here in this world. And yeah, it's got like a sense of mystery too, obviously, which is to be expected. It is a game where you are trying to figure something out. But going back to her powers, she has the power to basically empathic to a degree where she can sense and feel the emotions of others. Now, that doesn't sound necessarily like the most interesting thing to some folks, perhaps, but she also has the ability to really take advantage of these emotions to drive herself. If someone is angry, perchance, that actually will give her an increase in that particular emotional ability. And she can use these emotions to manipulate and cause problems for others, which is quite interesting. Because again, you make choices that will directly impact this town and the people that are within it. And it is a game driven by, this narrative, and you're trying to figure out what happened. Something goes really, really wrong. At first, you're somebody that has been basically going from place to place, having a hard time, and now you're reuniting with some family, and you're coming in here, you're meeting these people, you're trying to make your way through this town and maybe make a bit of a life for yourself. Or, who knows who you'll come across or the places you'll go or the things you'll see. And it is quite a lovely game. I mean, that art aesthetic and direction from the Life is Strange series is definitely alive here, which is so cool. Even the clouds have some subtle shifts to them, which is kind of nice. But yeah, this is, of course, as I mentioned, a full Life is Strange experience. So some twists and turns will, of course, happen. Some crazy moments, over the top insanity. And it's got some really just, like, I guess you would say intense action beats to it. It really does. Like, you will be really surprised. It goes from kind of calm, collected, new girl in town to being like, oh, everything is falling apart. What's happening? Who do I trust? Who do I work with? The whole town is deep in, into the system. There's so many people here. Who is behind what? What is happening here? You need to solve the mystery of it. And it just takes part over these different, oh, that's like a little mini game you can do. It just takes place over like the course of these different chapters with these different challenges and these different emotive places. And you will try to discover exactly what is needed to get things done. And I think that's quite fun. Just you basically making your way through this town and making your mark on it in your own particular, unique, weird way. And it is really, really good. I genuinely like this. And there's some relationship elements too. You can kind of choose which way you go. Okay. And yeah, of course, all the typical interactive points of a Life is Strange game, SMS and texting and whatnot, local neighborhood block, interactions. And there's lots of stuff that you can have your character interact with within the game, which is quite cool. And it is largely, these sort of hub-type areas that you can go within and you can explore. The loading's all pretty fast between the different segments as well. If you do get loading, some spots you just kind of seamlessly goes between. But, yeah, it is quite a lovely-looking game. Oh, that's why it's loading, is because that chapter is done. Okay, there we go. See, when you're doing chapter replay, once you finish the segment, you get sent out to the main menu. It doesn't just like transition into the next scene. So if you're regularly playing, it'll just go through. But for this one, obviously, I'm doing replay mode because I finished it all. There's also a prequel episode you get if you get a certain version of the game and whatnot. And or is that like it might be actually after? I don't know. Didn't check that one out. Just the main game because that's kind of what I worked on. But yeah, it is quite a lovely experience. It does seem visually toned down a bit from what I'm used to on the Series X, where I was playing it with the default resolution mode, but I still think it looks pretty good, and it has some really good story to it. It's got some fun. You've got some cool, the psychic power of empathy, which again sounds just, not like the most exciting thing in the world, but it really does work for this game. It actually makes a lot of sense in the story. And, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I'm always kind of really hesitant when we see some expansions within this universe, if that makes sense. And then when they do, because obviously this is kind of like a spin-off and, it's its own thing. And you sit there and you're kind of like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do with this. And luckily they've really delivered here. And I'd like to continue to see more adventures within the Life is Strange sort of universe with these abilities, with these powers. They did a great job with the first game, Before the Storm. Loved both of those. This has been really phenomenal. I absolutely just found this game to be great. And, the second one, it's alright. It's got some good points to it. But this is also very much, it's not like it's intensely crazy graphic-wise or anything like that. But there are some adult themes within the story. It is mature. It tries to get the lingo kind of down, I guess you would say, in regards to, the action and everything like that. We're just kind of skipping ahead so we can get to the LARPing part, because this is pretty funny. They go all turn-based action on this. But basically emotions and whatnot. Most of your game, takes place in similar sets and whatnot, but you do go off into different places as well. Like this is, you're going to be seeing the main street here, and usually there'd be some really soft, nice music kind of carrying you through, and you're just making choices, interacting with stuff, and doing the typical Life is Strange interactions, which are exactly what I would expect out of this type of series. Seriously, it is really, really good as a game. Like I was saying, you could play it in segmented parts, you could sit there and roll right through it, kind of like what I did, because, you know, I enjoy taking in narrative elements like this. So, you know, go from there.
Ate a city every year until it died on Thanor's spear.
Makes a little less sense without the audio and stuff. But she also, she has quite a lovely voice as well in this one. So I think you get to hear some of her musical bits. She is a little bit talented with the guitar, which is how she conveys some emotions at times. And she does work, gets a little bit of a job going at the local tavern, really tries to connect with this town, and it's neat because you get to be the one that kind of decides where you go in life from this point. You know, is this a launch pad? Is this a home? You mingle with the crowds and the people, and you either come in and you help the individuals that are within this world, or maybe you, again, cause some problems and mix things up. It's really, really quite neat. It was an engaging journey. You get to make these choices, you get to do these battles. You got a pretty charismatic lead with some cool close friends that you interact with across your journey. It's got all the little tiny reference points, interaction stuff that you would expect. They certainly have fun with things. Like, it really is crazy. They always do these little, I don't know if you would call them like nerdy type segments, but that they always have these little really funny things. Like, you know, this one's doing the LARPing, and then there's, I think in the regular Life is Strange, they do like D&D in that. It's a wolf! What will we do? We'll probably fight it.
It's a wolf.
A dire wolf.
A dire
Shit,
wolf.
what do we do?
I think we have to fight it.
Let's take it on. Seriously, it goes into, like, the rest of the game isn't like this. It's literally just this, like, chapter, but it's very funny that you full-blown, you know, kind of LARPing attacks. That's kind of crazy to me.
Untuned cord. 1 damage.
Gotta do those intense attacks, you know. Shield of Courage. I wanted to attack. That wasn't very bright of me.
2 damage.
It's a lot of damage. Let's see, they got any good magic here?
Stirring him.
And you literally, like, as part of the segment, you can go and you can gather, like, upgrades and stuff, too. It's actually, like, really in-depth. which was such a shock to me, that they would do this whole setup within this game. But it makes a lot of sense from the perspective of, like, what's happening in the story, if that makes sense. Like, there's a very emotional part, and this whole kind of town comes together to deal with some of the scenarios that are here. Because everyone has, you know, different emotional problems. They've all got different things going along, and you are able to use your empathetic abilities to solve them or ignore them. You know, it really does have a lot of points where things can go off in different ways, and you could, if you're not really in tune with the town, not really paying attention, you know,
Maybe it unlocks something in one of these stores.
miss something that would be entertaining.
How do we know for sure it's dead? Should we tickle it?
Stop it. Be serious. What is that?
But yeah, this is the main town. It's quite a lovely spot to kind of go down, and it changes too as you explore it. It's not you know, it's not beheld to this particular visual style. It
Could there be
does
something
kind
down
of
the
adjust,
alley?
and there's some different shops that you end up going into and different characters you end up meeting along the way. It's quite cool. They do really have fun with it. And like I said, these Life is Strange games, they're quite
Please
fantastic.
knock twice.
They're a lot of fun to play. They're very well done story-wise. I highly
Go
suggest
for
Life
it.
is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm. Really, really good. There's remasters out. I never got to try those, so I have no idea what they're like. But this one's also really, really well done. I quite love this. I do highly recommend this experience. I think it's a blast. I think it offers a lot of really great gameplay moments. A excellent lead character, a well done, mature story, unique individuals interacting with each other, and just a really gripping and engaging story. And again, I hope this didn't spoil anything because I don't want to spoil it all. But you know, it just kind of showcased this little slice of the game in a very hilarious and weird way.
Sorry about the lock. These are dangerous times. Welcome to the Magpie Emporium.
Oh, so this is like a magic shop.
I'm gonna take a look around a bit, okay?
Okay.
Let's see what Steph's done to the place.
The streets used to be full of people. The streets used to be full of people.
Golems. Animation fee not included. Oh, Steph. That actually looks legit.
He's forging the sky sword of power.
Oh, yeah?
One day,
Man, my dating life could have used a truth spell or two. Wonder if they have drills for this. Seeking insight? Draw a card. Huh. What do I want insight about? Steph is just awesome. I mean, I hope that's true. You were right, Gabe. I'm a superhero. Yikes. Holy shit. Too real. Is that true for Ryan? I hope so. Spells. Very cute stuff.
Are these spells for sale?
To members of the Sword...
Warning. Cat is cursed. Do not pet. Yeah, no need to warn me. I guess some heroes are into bards with flashy guitars. But I'm glad Thanor has better taste.
The streets used to be full of people.
the soul sapphire's right there. For sale.
Why is this 10,000 gold?
Was I too generous? It was originally 20,000, but...
No, I meant... Never mind.
Maybe we can make some kind of deal with her.
Would you consider giving us that sapphire? In exchange for something far more valuable. My hand. In marriage. And all of its associated benefits.
I mean...
Oh man, this just got real.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued. But I'm afraid I can't accept. For now.
We need the sapphire right away. It's for a quest to end the Age of Monsters.